Guess who's back? Back again. Jack G. King's back. Phone up the beers. That's right. I'm Jack from WhatCulture.com, and I'm back with the first show I was ever on, the Fast Count, because Simon Miller's at the gym, Ross is still in Europe watching the football, and Ben, I'm sure we'll see him again, but to be honest, he's probably off somewhere being better than me, isn't he? Probably Ben. But no, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to be in a good mood because this is the Fast Count. Hit the music, Chris. Go on. First, let's start off with all of this week's biggest WWE news. Now, first up, I'm sure you've heard this already, Roman Reigns has been suspended for 30 days for violation of WWE's wellness policy. Now, Wrestling Observer Newsletter did say that WWE officials knew about Roman's wellness policy violation before Money in the Bank, so did it impact the decision to have him lose to Seth Rollins, and will it impact the booking of the Battleground main event, that big triple threat match between all three members of The Shield? I guess we'll see. The Cruiserweight Classic is well underway, where we're not going to spoil any of the results here on the Fast Count because it will all be available on the WWE Network. But a big piece of news that we can report is the fact that Bryan and Mauro Ranallo will be the commentary team. And I have to say, personally, I'm very excited about this. You've got all of Mauro's excellent insight that we've seen on SmackDown this year so far. And you've also got all of Bryan's experience, technical expertise, so I think they'll make a really good team, and the amount of talent they've got in that tournament as well, it really is shaping up to be a fantastic highlight of WWE's year. Now, a lot of people have been asking who our favourites are here at WhatCulture.com, and it has to be WCPW's own Noam Dar. Come on, Noam, we're all rooting for you to do well. Next up, WWE have filed a trademark for Clash of the Champions, which was obviously a WCW pay-per-view that used to run back in the late 80s right through to 1997. It is thought that Clash of the Champions will be a brand-exclusive pay-per-view sometime later this year after the split, and it opens the door for WWE to potentially look to use other previous WCW pay-per-view titles such as Bash at the Beach, Halloween Havoc. Can you imagine if we got Halloween Havoc? It could mean the return of my boy, the Yeti. I'm so excited. And now for all of the news from elsewhere in the crazy world of professional wrestling, lads. It's unbelievable. First up, CM Punk's UFC debut has finally been confirmed. CM Punk will be making his debut on September the 10th at UFC 203. Now, this is massively speculated upon because Punk obviously comes from a professional wrestling background. His opponent, Mickey Gall, is an MMA fighter. There's also the question of injuries. Punk was apparently working with a herniated disc in his back for quite a long time, longer than he thought. And you've got to remember as well that Punk's, he's 37. He's not a spring chicken, and Mickey Gall is 24. Could that play a big part? And how much could Mickey Gall's stock rise if he was to beat Punk? And how much could Punk's stock drop if he lost as well? So we'll definitely be keeping a keen eye on that one. Over to New Japan now, and once again, there's a new IWGP heavyweight champion. At last week's Dominion pay-per-view, Tetsuya Naito lost the belt to previous champion Okada. Now, Kazuchika Okada, pronounce that because Okada is one of the best wrestlers in the world easily, but Naito had greatly impressed everyone throughout his championship reign. He was really breaking the mold in Japan. He was disrespecting the belt. He was doing a lot of heel tactics that you don't tend to see over in Japan. And I, for one, was quite disappointed not to see his reign extend a bit longer, but then again, you can't argue with the Rainmaker being back on top again. Okada is the boss. And over in Ring of Honor, one of their longest-serving former champions has finally left the company. ROH announced recently that Roderick Strong will be parting ways in search of pastures new after almost 13 years with the promotion. For those of you unaware of Roderick Strong, you might want to familiarise yourselves with him because he could well end up in NXT. He's an incredible wrestler, he's very charismatic, usually works heel, and he's also a Triple Crown champion. He's won the Ring of Honor World title, he's won the Tag Team belts, and he's won the TV title as well, so it's obvious that the people in the know really believe in him. And finally, what's that? Is it a rumbling in your tummy? Because it's time for all of this week's takeaways. We really need to think of something new to introduce the takeaways. First of all, we are looking at The Shield because, as you'll all know by now, by the end of Money in the Bank, all three members of The Shield had held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship within minutes of each other. Roman Reigns obviously lost clean to Seth Rollins, and then Dean Ambrose cashed in his Money in the Bank contract and won the belt for himself. So it's an unprecedented turn of events, really. We've seen dramatic cash-ins before, but never of such a dramatic scale concerning the intertwined histories of all three men. Now we've got to look ahead to Battleground. Roman Reigns' suspension obviously complicates matters, but WWE have still been advertising it as a triple threat. Roman's not going to be able to play much part in the build-up. His suspension ends before the pay-per-view, but not long before. So Rollins and Ambrose are really going to have to carry this one, and it'll be interesting to see whether WWE even acknowledge the suspension at all. I don't think they will. Now it's time to look once again at the Cruiserweight Classic, which is about to hit the WWE Network next month in July. And will this eventually lead to the return of the Cruiserweight Championship? I know a lot of us here at WhatCulture are really hoping that it does, because you can see the boost that a new belt can give to a certain pocket of the WWE roster. We've seen it with the women's division at WrestleMania 32, and we could well see a return of the Cruiserweight belt as well, and we'd all love that. It'll be part of WWE's new, more open policy, where they're looking to bring in maybe undersized or, otherwise underrated talents from elsewhere in the world, and it could be a really, really exciting prospect. Chris has pointed out that Hornswoggle was the last champion. We need that belt back, like now, really now. And third and finally, and it's a very cheesy takeaway, I'm afraid, but it's clear to me and to all of us here at WhatCulture.com that you, the WhatCulture and the WCPW fans, are the best in the world. Our tapings last week blew us away, frankly. You guys who came out, you made a hell of a lot of noise. You were so kind to all of us. The wrestlers themselves were shocked at how loud you were. And I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone involved, from the wrestlers themselves, the ring crew, the referees, just everyone who came together and helped make the tapings possible. And don't forget that tickets are on sale for our tapings next month. It's at a new venue, but it will still be in Newcastle, so look out for that. That's all we've got time for this week on the Fast Count. I've been Jack from WhatCulture.com. I'm finally back where I belong. Just one more batch of WTF moments to do before Ross swans back in from France. And there's nothing else to say. I'm genuinely pleased to be back on the Fast Count, and I'll see you soon.